The approval of a controversial Israeli settlement project marks a pivotal moment that threatens to erase the possibility of a Palestinian state as envisioned for decades. But here's where it gets even more contentious. This plan, known as the E1 settlement scheme, aims to carve through land that Palestinians claim for their future nation, potentially severing East Jerusalem from the West Bank and making a two-state solution nearly impossible. On August 14, 2025, Israeli Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich, a prominent figure in the country's right-wing government, publicly presented a map illustrating the long-stalled E1 settlement plan near the settlement of Ma'ale Adumim, located in the occupied West Bank. This move signals a decisive push forward after the project had been on hold amid objections from the United States and European nations. These international voices warned that resuming construction could deepen Israel's diplomatic isolation, especially as some Western countries consider recognizing Palestinian statehood at the upcoming United Nations General Assembly. The E1 project, which received its final approval from a Defense Ministry Planning Commission, proposes the building of roughly 3,400 new housing units, according to Peace Now, an Israeli organization that monitors settlement expansions. Infrastructure work could start within months, with actual house construction commencing about a year from now. Smotrich confidently stated, "With E1, we are delivering finally on what has been promised for years. The Palestinian state is being erased from the table, not with slogans, but with actions." Such a bold declaration has ignited fierce condemnations worldwide. The United Nations, represented by spokesperson Stefan Dujarric, vehemently denounced the expansion, warning that it would decisively crush any hopes of reviving the two-state solution. Similarly, the Palestinian Foreign Ministry emphasized that the E1 development would isolate Palestinian communities and further diminish prospects for peace. This strong international backlash underscores the wider geopolitical fallout. British Foreign Minister David Lammy sharply criticized the plan on social media, declaring it a blatant violation of international law that would physically split the Palestinian territories. German officials echoed this concern, reminding that settlement activity regularly undermines peace negotiations and prolongs the Israeli military occupation of the West Bank. Notably, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has remained publicly silent on the E1 announcement specifically, yet in a recent speech at Ofra, a West Bank settlement established 25 years ago, Netanyahu reaffirmed his commitment to maintaining Israeli control over the land and preventing the emergence of a Palestinian state, statements consistent with the thrust of the E1 plan. For context, the two-state solution has long been the cornerstone of international efforts to resolve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It envisions Israel and a sovereign Palestinian state living side by side, with East Jerusalem, the West Bank, and Gaza as the prospective Palestinian homeland. However, settlement projects, like E1, threaten to fragment this vision, cutting off Palestinian territories and making contiguous governance increasingly impossible. The E1 area is adjacent to Ma'ale Adumim, one of the largest Israeli settlements in the West Bank. The project's prior freezes in 2012 and 2020 came after intense diplomatic pressure from Western allies who viewed the construction as a major obstacle to peace. Despite the international consensus that Israeli settlements violate international law, Israel disputes this claim, citing historical ties to the land and its view that settlements provide necessary strategic depth and security. This development poses critical questions. Is the irreversible expansion of settlements the end of the two-state solution? Can peace be achieved when actions seem to contradict decades of diplomatic efforts? And more provocatively, does Israel's strategy reflect a permanent intention to control the entire West Bank, effectively erasing Palestinian self-determination? We invite you to reflect on this complex situation and share your perspective. Do you agree with the international community's view that this settlement plan will derail peace negotiations? Or do you believe Israel's security concerns justify such moves? The debate is open. What's your take?